Yishtadel. Oh, okay.
Forgot.
No problem. So you have to take a good look and see what's the end of Olam Hazeh. What's the end of Olam Haba? And where will you be? Yishtadel hachik avos Olam Hazeh melibo l'kaim by avos Olam Haba tomid. And you have to work on this. Why should tzarchas boinin itself zeh shai b'lav hachi? Without his boinin, without giving it real thought. Yev shel hasid shum davar. Right, right. We did do this. You can't attain anything. He says the only Yetzer, and really it's what the Chovos HaLevavos is saying is, but it doesn't make it off zealous and it's stuck with the Avera. Three tools, three things to gaze at, in, and you will and you will not come to sin. Dama ein basa, olana tohilach, nemiyat osilitindim lecheshbon kan. Udivrei Rabbeinu elu. Chovos HaLevavos is focusing. Seifrim b'yoysa stakas b'lana tohilach. He's focusing on this aspect of the three things. Going of where you're going. Where you're going in Olam Hazeh, where you're going in Olam Haba. Shai Olam Haba ain't a rak musad ba'alma. Ve'en lo rabbi shum tmuna v'tzir. He says Olam Haba is only an idea. Right? We don't have any examples. We don't have any pictures of it. Like the Navi said, Ain lo rasa l'kim zulasacha yasa machakeloin. It says, and even after all the Mishalim, all of it is, they describe Olam Haba. The Tarlon Shoilam Hanitzki to be metarot to describe that it's eternal. It says still. Our desire for Olam Hazeh, with all its taivas and pleasures, physical pleasures, overcomes this intellectual picture that we have, this intellectual idea of Olam Haba. We don't have it here. We don't feel it. We don't see it. We don't enjoy it. And Olam Haba, so we do. The Chen Kosa Rabbeinu, so the Chovos HaLevavos wrote here, first, you got to push away by looking and seeing where is Olam Hazeh bringing you to? Where is it taking you? The Malkim offer Rima V'Teilah. That's the end of the Pirkei Avos. It does not offer Rima V'Teilah. That's the end. That's the last stop on the bus route. But even for that, it's not enough to read the words in Pirkei Avos and intellectualize it. You need to use your imagination. You need to live it. You need to make it real. What is that? You got to live it. The worms, the terleia, what's a tool? He says that if you see it, a veilus behema, an animal, bird, an animal, laying in the street, it's already decaying. And there's a bad smell coming from it. It's a terrible smell. There's all kind of bugs and flies and everything. So, someone who's not learning Chovos HaLevavos, he'll just cross the street. He'll say, "Yech." Someone learning Chovos HaLevavos with Rav Matisyo is going to take a good look at it and he'll say, "This Hashem is sending me a message. Hashem is sending me a tool." And say to yourself, this is what Chazal meant in Pirkei Avos. Exactly this. Here it is. I see it now. So when a person starts giving thought to that, he internalized and he's living, it's became real to him. At the end is Oferim of Ataleya. And he starts thinking that all the pleasures you have in this world It's only going to be for a while because the last stop of a Rima V'Teleya, Olamosh, gives an example. Misha Eichel Davar Matuk, you eat something sweet. Misaning Mimena, the Dakas for it. So a little short few minutes, you suck the candy, you lick the ice cream. You have hana from it. You're done with the ice cream. It's finished. The pleasure's finished. He says, and if someone would tell another guy, it's such a good place. Because you could suck a candy and it's so sweet. I mean, there's no question that guy will look at you as if you're strange. Olam Haz is so good because I could suck his candy. Because he says anyone who has any seichel understands from shum hanos rega echad. For that very short pleasure, that's not enough to define the place where you got the candy as a wonderful place. And anyone would say, understand that if someone's trying to prove to you how good Olam Haz is by describing you the pleasure of eating a candy, so it's not going to talk to you. You're going to realize that's nothing. What is that? The same thing is true with all pleasures of this world. You have a fancy car, a chuvsha shaluk sus mufleges, a crazy vacation. And anything. Because of that, a non-Jew loves Olam Hazeh, and wants it so much. All these things. Says, but at the end, the pleasure, the voyage is over, the trip is over, and then what do you have? You went on this great vacation on a yacht, and you're out there in a beautiful sea and whatever it offers you. When you pull back in, you're finished. Now what? Maybe you took some pictures. I don't know, but it's finished. The pleasure those 2 weeks, finished. Therefore, Chazal taught us you have to look at Olam Hazeh in its entirety, and to evaluate. Let's make a list. I got a pen and paper, and let's make a list of the things that are important in Olam Hazeh. My dream list. All right, let's make that list. It's fine and bizarre. So someone who then looks at it, who looks back, looks from now back, to the past. He'll see that from all those pleasures, he doesn't have anything now from it. It was nice then, but now he doesn't have it. And when Homer will come to the next world, a world that's eternal. And you look now back at your past when you were in Olam Hazeh. Your whole life will look like one little dot. In the span of time, in the compared to Olam Haba, your whole life, one little dot. And the only thing left when you're next world from all those pleasures of Olam Hazeh is nothing. It's all rot. He says on the bottom, a non-Jew also. It's not only a Jew that comes to this conclusion. Because if you would give it thought, that he really has no benefit. Like, what's the purpose? What is the purpose in this world? A non-Jew would also give thought. Like, what's it for? So you didn't drink and have the Americans tomorrow, you die. So, all right. Get whatever pleasure you get out of it. But a thinking person is going to say, but what is the true value of it? Like if the end is in 70 years. See, Shalom talks about that at the beginning. You can't say that Hashem created it. He uses it as a proof. You can't say Hashem created a person and a world. Or this world, that this world is the purpose. Things. Because it says, firstly, you're not going to find anyone who really has a perfect life. Everyone has some service somewhere. And it's so short, and when it ends, it's over. So Akash Baruch Hu wouldn't create. It's like a pity. It doesn't make sense that you would create this whole system for that. Elway says, that he would come to this conclusion without the Torah. And he says, therefore, many non-Jews become priests who perish from Gam Elam Hazan. They take a step away from Elam Hazan, when they imagine to themselves, they say that makes me into a spiritual being, because they had the honesty to look at the physical world and they see it doesn't take you anywhere, nothing lasting. So they choose, to live a very, I don't know what the English word is, but they choose. What?
They're ascetics. They're
right.
They
And in that way,
divorce themselves. They divorce themselves from this world, so they live on porridge or bread and water and
exactly. Right, and they imagine that by doing that they're becoming spiritual, because they are separating themselves and the physical world. The truth is that they would, that's what he means here, that they would be more successful in attaining the true way of life if they would look at the end of this world. I guess what he's saying here, they would come to the conclusion that they're missing something, because it can't be that this is a purpose. To be here, how many years? 10 years, 20 years, 50, 70 years. And then in the ground, and nothing. That would be, I guess, a cause for them to, and I guess that's why they're a gamer memorial, because they take a look and they say it can't be. There got to be a real truth. So he goes on and he says,
but by them, as long as you believe, you're guaranteed a seat in heaven.
Right,
so to
right.
say. Right? So the focus, what's the point of this world? What am I doing here?
Right.
If I believe, so I've got a ticket. I mean, we have a completely different concept of Olam Haba, right? And that they're directly connected, and you have a better spot, so to say. You're behind home plate, in the seats, in the box seats, as opposed to up in the bleachers, so to say.
Right.
But it's all connected. There, it's one and done.
Right. But you gotta again emphasize Shabli is brainedness. Without is brainedness, which is learning Musa, which is taking out time every day, sitting with yourself and thinking these things through. You could talk words and it can make intellectual sense, but you're not going to change your lifestyle. You're not going to have to come to a point where Olam Haza and the Haza stop talking to you, and rather the Olam Haba start talking to you and being the driver in your life. He says, when you learn Musa, you have to use your imagination. You have to picture what you learn. In where was it, in the Vardik? They would sit and they would say over the same line again and again and again with the tune that they had, so that it should sink in. It should make an impact.
Roshan. Yeah.
What's that?
It should make a roshim on.
Right. But understand, it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing too. And it's only because we're lazy. And using Kachetzir, it's not only because we're lazy that we can't do it. So interesting what he's saying here. Because today we have pictures. Chushias, the whole Dav Shabbayim. When I read somewhere that Rav Shach, who was against this forum with illustrations, he says it stunts your thinking process. Before you had that illustration, you had to use your imagination. You had to stretch your mind, picture it in your head, develop it in your head. Not the picture. So I see it, I move on. He's saying the same thing here. He's saying, being that today everything is a picture. We have pictures of everything in the whole world. So my focus is what I see, what I don't see. In the other days, old days, let's say before there were pictures, cameras, before there was any of this stuff, okay, your mind was much more imaginative. You heard about things, you would live it in your mind. You didn't see it. Seeing it stops your thought process. I see it, finish.
My father used to talk about growing up. So everybody would gather around the radio. Right. So obviously there's no picture, and you had to imagine
what you were hearing.
McGee and Molly in the closet and all the crazy stuff that was going on. And you had to stretch your mind and imagine.
And if your mind is trained to do that, then when it comes to thinking about these thoughts, it's a natural thing because your mind has been, so to speak, developed. But if today I don't have to use my imagination for anything. I just Google it and there it is. It's there. I don't have to. So it stunts your koyach hatzir. He's not dismissing that his laziness factor also in not doing this hispaininess. He says, but also, today we live with actual pictures of everything in the world. So my thought process is only about what I could see. I don't think beyond what I could see. If I can see a picture, I'll give it thought. I don't see a picture. I just don't think about it because I have no place to do it. Whatever I want to see, I see. We make kedem chahoyilem tmunos itzurim shakol davar. So then you had to close your eyes, pull this point in and think. In Siflam, and you had to picture it in your mind. To make it real. Someone would tell you about something and you'd have to close your eyes and try to picture it. And what is it? So once my mind is trained to do that, and I'm also going to do it in these things.
But
so really, yeah.
But the flip side that I see is like when we're going through the next 4 or 5 parshios, right? So the Torah is going through and explaining the Mishkan and how it's built, and it's X amos this way and that.
Right.
I got lost without a picture, without something concrete.
Right.
I really can't imagine.
Right.
Everything that's going on in all the details.
So, I just wonder if HaKadosh Baruch Hu in his infinite chokhmah, it's like sort of, he knows that we're there. So therefore he gives us the pictures, right? It's just the next generation screams about it because they see that we're losing something. But this generation, we're stuck with it. Just like when Art Scroll came out with the Art Scroll Gemaras. I remember when I was with Yeshiva, the Yeshivas won't let it into the base medrash. No Yeshiva let it in the base medrash. A crutch. When I was growing up, there was a thing called Sansino. I don't know if you ever saw it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that they referred to as a crutch. You
I'm
had to
I'm
work
about
hard
10
to
years
understand the
behind you.
English. Okay.
I'm about
You had
10
to
years
work
behind.
hard to understand the English. You understand? I know it's a crutch. Today, arts go like it's like reading a book. It's like they fill in all the gaps. They put so you know, it's a translation. You gotta work it. Here, the bold print, and then they have like the ear so that it flows. But yet on the same hand, our generation obviously needed it because the proof's in the pudding. It was accepted by Klal Yisrael in a major, major way. Right? So you can't say because Rosh is running the world. You can't say that was a mistake. So Ramatzil is just saying that for us now, like you're saying, maybe it's so hard for you to picture the pictures of the Mishkan because you're so used to seeing illustrations of everything that's hard for you in the Mishnayos and the Gemaras, everyone. Maybe, and maybe those people a generation ago who didn't have those opportunities, didn't have those tools, they had their minds learned to, yes, wrap it around that Rashi and picture what the thing looked like. Maybe.
And I'm always amazed when people are able to speak in detail, as you're reading the Parish. It was right there in front of them. They had a picture
Right.
in
right.
their brain, but it
right.
was as clear as you and I Googling something. And
right. So that's what he's saying here. Okay, let's stop here. Okay. And I can put my marker here so I remember.